Behaviour management in secondary. Whether you're new to education or you're an experienced teacher, behaviour management is something all teachers have struggled with to some degree. Therefore, it will be reassuring to you to know that you're not alone. There are a number of behaviour management approaches that can be used in primary and secondary, as there is quite a lot of crossover. However, they are widely different settings. Here are some top tips to make your time in secondary a successful one. Set your expectations within the first 5 minutes. Be clear, be confident, and be sure of the behaviour that you want to see in the classroom. Remember to ask colleagues or the cover manager prior to the start of the lesson how the school handled challenging behaviour. You may find it useful to have something for them to do at the start of the lesson. It might be as simple as just getting them to write the date and learning intention. Other examples of opening activities can be found on our e-learning zone. Sometimes you may come into problems understanding the work that has been set for the students, or maybe there is no work available. Either way, you might need some support. So ask a student to go with a note to another class or back to the office where you can find some support. In the meantime, if you have other work that they can do, then all the better for it. Remember, the more prepared you are, the better your experience is going to be. While you're waiting, you can ask a student what they did before, and maybe you can get the class to review their previous work. Learn the names of the students as quickly as possible. I understand that this might be quite hard because you've got 5 lessons with 5 different groups of students. Try to grasp a few if you can, as they are more likely to behave since they know that you know their name and they are more likely to be seen. Here is some advice given to me in the early days of my career. Draw a layout of the tables right at the start, and as you read out their names and they answer, write it down on the layout. Therefore, you have a reference point. Remember, if you do this though, you're going to have to get rid of this and dispose of it before you leave the premises. Reward. Does the school have a reward system in place? Most schools do. Some collect points so that they can go on school trips or obtain privileges. Some have an online reward system where teachers can send positive updates about students to their parents, which helps to build homeschool connections, and it can also motivate students. You must, however, keep the rewards in line with the school policy, and don't overpromise something that you cannot achieve. In the first instance, focus your attention to those showing positive behaviours. Scan the students. If the majority are being attentive and showing great learning behaviours, then you're doing a great job. If you focus on the few that are doing the wrong things, then you're drawing attention to it. That is not to say that you shouldn't deal with the pupil who repeatedly misbehaves, however. Give clear warnings. If you have told the student to not do something and they keep doing it, then they are deliberately misbehaving. Tell the student that this is not behaviour you expect or will tolerate. Follow the school procedure, which is usually 1 or 2 verbal warnings in the first instance. Take the example of a student swearing at you or behaving in a completely inappropriate way. It is natural to want to confront the behaviour in a similarly hostile way, thus escalating the situation. Avoiding confrontation does not mean that you're not dealing with the issue. It means that you're going to approach it in a sensitive way. When handling a confrontational student, adopt these following techniques. Be assertive and confident. Refuse to enter tit-for-tat arguments. Be reasonable, but don't reason with them. Be aware of the language that you use. Swearing is never acceptable, and old sayings could be misunderstood or might now be deemed as inappropriate. As an education professional, personal views should never be talked about in the classroom. Always back to the lesson and the lesson plan. Don't enter into a conversation that could alienate any kind of person, whether that's to do with age, race, sexual orientation, any member of staff, or any child within the classroom. Always bring the children back to the curriculum, to the lesson. You could defer the discussion and say, we're going to discuss this at the end of class. Let's get back to the learning. Keep an eye out for any early signs if problems are arising. Intervene straight away if an argument breaks out and ask for some support. Also, be willing to apologise when you got it wrong. This will earn you respect.